It's Friday, August 13th, and you are listening to The Drive. Ollie, my friend, all the way from that small little island across the pond. Or maybe you just look at us as a really big island across the pond. I don't know. How are you doing, my friend?
I would be better if you had done I don't know what we called it again. A few weeks ago, you did, that's it, the boxing intro. It'd be better if you'd have done that. But what was that? What kind of intro
That's
is
true.
that?
It was I forgot about the boxing. Ladies and gentlemen, sitting in the corner wearing the Union Jack trunks after suffering humiliating defeats in women's football to the ultimate champions of Canada. I'm sorry, I've changed sports. There we go. Anyway, folks, this has been nonstop, Ollie and I in the Olympics, where we've been teasing and taunting each other on how Great Britain is doing versus how Canada is doing. And for you Americans, I mean, you always do great. I mean, we won't talk about men's track and field. I'm not even going to go there. But other than that, you guys kick ass. So, but for us, we're smaller countries, and Canada especially, we're like a colony still in many people's eyes. So it's been a little fun, a little banter. Did you banter, Ollie, with anybody other than me on the Olympics, or did you just tune out altogether and just I was just annoying and you had to respond to me because we work together?
It's just one of those things where over here we're used to that dominance in the Olympics. And for us, this is not a first time ever thing. And, in most cases for Canada, the only way that you're finishing above us is if it's in alphabetical order.
Let's talk Winter Olympics. Let's talk Winter Olympics and Great Britain's very impressive ice hockey team. So we'll leave it right there. So with that said, trash talking done, out of the way. How you doing, folks? Happy Friday. Good to see you again. We're in the dog days of summer. Everybody's on vacation, it seems. I mean, you notice Catherine's not here. I got Ollie again. Catherine's still in Florida, as many of you know. So we're going to have an action-packed show this week. Lots going on, which is surprising considering that we are in the dog days of summer. For those of you who don't know, that is Ollie Whitfield. My name is Daryl Prale. Thanks for joining us today on The Drive. Let's get right into it. Ollie, normally we start off with what we call the road ahead, which is kind of like, what's happening in the next week or 10 days or whatever. Are there any things happening, I guess, Saturday, Sunday, next week that you think we need to know about, talk about, discuss, or shall we just go right into money, money, money?
Well, I'm on vacation next week.
So that's happening.
Does that count? Well, you are too, right?
I am too. And in fact, well, here's the funny part, folks. So it's actually, I'm glad you brought it up. So Ollie's on vacation. We know Catherine's on a pseudo vacation, a few days working, a few days off, a few days working, a few days off. I'm going to be on vacation Tuesday to Friday. And our good friend and producer, Daniel, is going to be on vacation for the next several weeks. So it's my understanding that the next 3 weeks, the next 3 episodes of The Drive are going to be on hiatus. You will not hear there will be no driving for the next 3 weeks because there's nobody around to do the driving. So enjoy this one while you have it. All right, let's talk money, money, money. Ollie, my friend, talk to me about this little company called MindTickle. What have they done? What's happening? What's going on?
Well, I found out about this. One of my connections on LinkedIn, I believe his name is Anthony. He's the UK sales leader. He posted one of his things is he does a meme all the time on LinkedIn. He doesn't really post other stuff, just memes. It's his thing. He loves it. And he posted his own custom-made meme about MindTickle Series E, $100 million, worth $1.2 billion. And I think it was something like the picture in the meme was a guy scratching his face, and at the bottom, it's some people still don't know who we are, or something to that effect. But the round's led by SoftBank, Chimera Capital, if I've said that correctly, with a bunch of other companies that I have not personally heard of, but they're getting kind of big, MindTickle, and they're one of those that, had I not seen a couple of the other vendors in that space I didn't actually know of too well. So maybe his meme is, maybe he's had that question a couple of times before.
It's interesting because I'm on the actual website where they they are announcing the round. And now, of course, SoftBank, big company as far as money goes, so that's not a problem. $100 million is probably just a drop in the bucket for them. But hey, that's a good round. Interesting on a couple of fronts. So number one, you're spot on, right? Hardly anybody knows who MindTickle is. And you're not alone. Maybe a little bit, guilty of some of the stuff that maybe VanillaSoft can sometimes have happen to them with their brand. But it's also a case of, those in their target markets know the brand, So that's the first part. This is their Series E. So, it's A, B, C, D, fifth round, and it's only $100 million. That I found interesting. Their grand total raising is $181 million. And now, not chump change. That's almost $300 million bucks. But it's only this is only $100 million round Series E. What I also find very interesting, so they're at a $1.2 billion valuation, which is unicorn status for those who don't know. So incredible accomplishment. So is this kind of like sales enablement meets sales training? In other words, is this like, Seismic or High Road meets Lessonly or Brainshark come together? Or is this just marketing? I mean, do you know? I don't know, but I'm just curious.
Well, you know what I actually like about it? Possibly it's a bad move. Possibly it's a good one. It's one of those. I think all the time we brand as a category, right? There's the sales engagement, it's the ABM and so on, but they don't really describe in these labels what is happening. It describes what it does, not what happens as a result. So you could easily say sales engagement should rebrand as pipeline building for making something terrible up on the spot. Sales readiness, when I hear it, I think salespeople being ready. Okay, I get it. Sales enablement, what are we enabling them to do work better, faster? I have question marks when I hear that term. So whether they're just trying to be not quite that, but close to it, I think I get it, but that's just me.
So you know what I like about this? What I like about this, in all honesty, is I'm thinking, okay, well, I've got, my training platform, Lessonly, Brainshark, whatever, and I've got my sales enablement platform, Seismic, et cetera. And they have their own expenses, right? And it sounds like I can actually probably get rid of both of those and redirect some of those funds to MindTickle and get the majority of what those two combine in a single platform. I can do remote coaching. I can do field communications. I can do sales onboarding. I can do virtual sales kickoffs. Those are just some of the applications I can use that. And if that's the case, then I can have one piece of technology instead of two, which means I can save some money and redirect my savings to other investments, maybe more people or more resources, et cetera. So it is interesting. So with that all said, hey, I'm always intrigued when there's a new category being defined. Sales readiness smells of a brand new category, that they're trying to find their way in the very noisy market. That's what I think is going on here. They don't want to compete with Seismic or Sales Roads or any other platforms. Yeah, exactly. So instead, they're going to be sales readiness because no one else is there. So that's hey, kudos to them. I have friends who work there, by the way, and so they're happy. All right, moving along. Pave raises a Series B. Okay, so not A, but B, unlike E for MindTickle. And that's $400 million valuation. So that's pretty damn good for a Series B. I will give them credit on that. Now, Pave, I got to tell you, Ollie, I had never heard of this company, Pave.
Really?
I'd never heard of them. And but, right away, when I was looking at the news, and then, of course, what did I do? I went to pave.com to check them all out. And I love their big hook, right? Top of the website. Plan, communicate, and benchmark your compensation in real time. Pave allows you to make smarter compensation decisions and eliminate spreadsheets powered by real-time integrations with your human resources information systems, your ATS, and your cap table. So, this is a really interesting company because every single company in the world typically has a sales force, especially, and you're going to want to actually make sure you're paying your employees correctly, whether they're sales or otherwise. And how you justify that is because the employee thinks they're worth one money. You think they're worth less. There's a disconnect. So you want benchmarks. And then you want to actually, give communications and ongoing rewards and all that kind of stuff to make them loyal. So this really caught my attention. I mean, the addressable market for these guys is massive. So talk to me a little bit about Pave.
Well, I didn't know Pave too well either. And I think it was when I first joined the company. So maybe back October last year, one of the first things that I did was a webinar with one of my friends. Depending on where you're from, you say his name differently. I say our man Farouk. And if you're from a cool North American place, you say our man Farouk, depending on who you are. But he is a top sales rep. He's half of the 30 Minutes to President's Club podcast. Super smart sales rep. He was employee number 9 there. And that was around October last year. So not that long into his tenure there and already the growth. Damn. But what gets my brain going about this? People get compensation wrong. It's not that easy. Really? Clearly, I have oversimplified it and people are getting it wrong. Very clearly. Otherwise, they wouldn't have a 400 million valuation, would they? But I was surprised when I'm seeing how many of these companies and the size and the speed. I'm thinking, wow, I thought that was a bit easier than clearly it is.
I always look at if I was to start my next venture, because you're always looking at, what's the exit? Do we go public? Do we get acquired? Or do we become the alpha platform? We do the acquisition, and you can only do that if the addressable market is big enough to support the cash infusion you'll need. And so I always look at the addressable market. And so something like this is like literally every company would be a candidate to be your customer. So the opportunity is there. I can see why the investors would be excited with that one. So never heard of them before. I am now checking them out. I suggest everybody else should do that too. With that though, we're done on the money. We only had 2 announcements because, dog days of summer. Let's move it along. We're going to go into corporate affairs. All right. Do you think Daniel's going to get tired of producing this show for the next 3 weeks, Ollie? Do you think he's just going to sit there for the next 3 Fridays? I think it's 3, maybe it's 2. I think it's 3 in a row, and just go. I'm sipping my Mai Tai and my margarita. I'm sitting in a comfortable chair, maybe enjoying the beach, maybe sand, and I don't need to record Prail and all his minions, especially that Ollie guy. Do you think that's what's going to happen?
I don't think so. I think we should have him broadcast one of our best webinars or one of our best podcasts, something like that. Keep the show going.
You're right. If he's really committed to the cause, he would step up, suppose taking these 3 weeks off. And by the way, he took great pride just now messaging me to say it's 3, Prail, you stupid ass. It's not 2. So I'm not going to miss that abuse. That's what I keep you around for. All right, corporate affairs. Interesting. I saw this new feature announced by our good friends over at LinkedIn. I'll let you go into it in a second there, Ollie. And I got to tell you, before we tell everybody what the new feature is, I said to myself, was that always there? And, is this really a really big use case? I mean, it's interesting, I guess. And that was that whole long pause, that pensive contemplation. That was me. But I think you might have had a different reaction. So, Ollie, what did LinkedIn add, announce, provide? What did they do?
Well, you know what? Full transparency, I had that typical, oh, wait. I'm in the UK. Have they actually given this to me yet or not? Is this going to be one of those, oh my God, it's there. And I look and it's not. And I have to wait God knows how long. And they never actually
And I want to stop there for a second. All right. My good friends who comprise the citizens of the United States of America, you do not understand or fully appreciate how fortunate you are, because every new product feature in the world always seems to kickstart in your country. And the rest of us poor schmucks will wait weeks or months before we ever get it. And I want you to know, I really envy you, and you annoy me sometimes. But hey, I know it's not personal, so there we go. So you don't have it yet. I'll have to check myself too. What is it? Everybody's going, what the hell is the feature? Talk to us.
Well, on this rare occasion, I do have it. I had to check thoroughly to find it. But I do have it. So what they've done is they've added a native, you could say Zoom invite style, open a conference room, open a video call within the DM bubble that you see on your screen when you're messaging. So you can click to minimize the bubble, or you can click on this new button and it adds the option to do a Zoom, to do a LinkedIn native call, or a Teams call. The thing that I did not experiment with until I was trying to use it for the first time that I would need it, I thought you could just go bam, click, like a Slack call, like the Slack huddle that is now available. You just click it and there you are. But no, you have to schedule it, and you can only do that for half an hour way out minimal. So I was thinking, well, when would I use this? If I'm a salesperson, maybe I'm sending a couple of LinkedIn DMs and they want to go right there. Chances are they're not available in half an hour. So that still doesn't remove the barrier of having to schedule something and aligning diaries and so on. It's probably pretty good for just talking to peers. So if I'm talking to my friend on LinkedIn, like I was chatting to my buddy AJ a couple of days ago, asked him if he had 20 minutes to chat about something. Yeah, sure, man. Just send me an invite. Instead of me going, okay, leave that app, go to calendar, new event, Ollie and AJ, invite AJ, add Zoom link. I could have just gone, okay, touch, send. How much cooler would that have been?
See, okay. And that was my reaction. I was like, okay, I get it. I just didn't, this is the classic. I didn't know I had this problem because it really wasn't a real big pain in the ass, because I'm going to send you the invite typically through email, because my email is synced with my calendar and all that wonderful stuff. Then I've got an audit trail there. I can always search. That's kind of my master repository of all my communications, whether it's Twitter or LinkedIn or Messenger or WhatsApp. Those are all kind of ad hoc communications for the most part, informal. If I've got my email integrated with, say, my CRM, like Salesforce.com, I want to make sure I have that all back and forth. If I go straight through LinkedIn, does it still work? I haven't tested it. It might. I don't know. But I want to make sure that that's reflected in Salesforce. I totally get the convenience, and I'm sure they did studies, and I'm sure the users said this is great and this is what we want. Personally, I just didn't see it. I didn't know I needed it. It's kind of cool. But that's just me. So anyway, LinkedIn has now added the native meeting feature, folks. So you no longer need to send a Zoom or a Teams link manually. Your hardship has gotten less. Congratulations, LinkedIn. Terminus has announced the availability of its next generation chat offering. We at VanillaSoft use Terminus Chat, and it's now native to its ABX. Account base X. Notice that, not ABM, because that's just marketing only. The industry's evolving. It's not ABS. That's sales only. It's ABX. It can be used in sales and marketing, in success and support. It's everywhere. Anything you want to share about this? I love it. It's my good friend, Justin McDonald. I love Justin a lot. We're tight. Look at this. He says, Terminus Chat has identified more than 3.7 million target accounts for customers, and that's incredibly powerful. Combined with our other channels like ad experiences and email experiences, chat experience is truly a game changer for modern-day marketers looking to engage the target audience at any stage of the funnel. And that's why we use them, in all honesty. We use them because we use Terminus for their ABM, and to have the chat there as well, it just keeps the whole ABM thing synchronized. So I suspect this is the probably final culmination of the integration of Ramble Chat, which is who they originally were when Terminus acquired them, into the native Terminus platform. So for that's fantastic stuff. But speaking of ABM, let's talk about 6 Sense. Ollie, what's going on with 6 Sense?
Well, they are on the rise, something ridiculous. Revenue rising 114% year over year. Customer base 155%. Firm headcount 140. Damn, that's not bad, is it? So literally the customer base over doubled in a year, and they weren't small to begin with, were they? Let's not pretend. So I'm wondering how and who, and maybe if you've read their release, you know a little bit more about this. But it may be premature to say that it's about their new beachhead in Australia. Just launch there and succumb to that kind of result. So I'm wondering, have they gone a little bit down market? Have they gone new features? What are you thinking?
I don't know if the beachhead in Australia, because they also opened a London office to meet the demand of its international customer base, is going to do a lot to drive that revenue, only because Australia is a little bit like Canada, where the actual business opportunities are finite. It's mostly, resources or services. And in Australia, especially, the tech industry isn't as big as in other countries. And Sixth Sense is big in the tech side. However, if you're trying to expand into Asia, then Australia is a good English-speaking, beachhead to put all your staff, and then you can go to, China or Japan or Vietnam or Korea or whatever. So, and I can see that logic. So that makes sense. Personally, I think they just want somewhere warm to go in the wintertime because, of course, they're south of the equator, so our seasons are opposite. And I love that business logic, if that's what the plan is. Hey, listen, here's the scoop on Sixth Sense, guys. Sixth Sense is, and so full kudos. So we just renewed our Terminus contract, but like any good individual, when your annual contract is coming up for renewal, you should stop and do an assessment on what's out there. Should I continue with the incumbent vendor I've gotten, or should I go elsewhere? And I got to tell you, Sixth Sense has got one hell of a product offering. They made it a bitch for us, because they had certain features that Terminus didn't have that were really freaking tempting. For us, we did like Terminus, and it was just easier in the end. Maybe the upside of Switch wasn't so profound that it was worth it. That said, I know many organizations that actually have like a Terminus and a Sixth Sense, or Sixth Sense and a demand-based. Actually have two ABM platforms. That's becoming prolific to kind of have all, demand-based, Terminus, and Sixth Sense individually all have certain strengths that the other vendors do not. So depending on what you want, that's the vendor you should go in. I'm not shocked at all. Their tool is incredibly intuitive. It's slick. The difference of what I found with Sixth Sense was it really appealed and was impactful with the individual sales rep, where Terminus really appealed to the marketer. So that's just one example. I'm not at all shocked by this growth. And the leadership there is world-class. They're well-funded. No surprises. If you're looking for an ABM solution, check them out. Their success is warranted, deserved, and their product rocks. I will warn you, they're not the cheapest product on the marketplace, which is what makes this accomplishment even more prolific. So there we go. All right. My friend, this next one really has me intrigued. Genuinely, of all the stories today, this is the one that just popped at me. Hippo Video has launched their template builder. All right. And the whole point about this is what it lets you do. The templates are handed out to sales reps who can they can record a personal video for a portion of the video. And they don't need to worry about stitching the rest of the video together. I mean, stop the freaking presses. This, in my opinion, is a game changer. What are your thoughts on this one, my friend?
Yeah, I like it. So if anybody is trying to do some more videos, and particularly when you're starting, if you have to do it 10, 15, 20 times to start getting it right when you're very new, it is awful once you get past that first 15 seconds and you've got to bumble through the same bit over and over and over again. So if you could just snip, paste, we're good. Imagine how many more videos you could do. But it's not necessarily about let's do 10,000 videos. It's about let's have X many more highly personalized touches. We're just able to do it quicker, not necessarily without sacrificing anything. That's normally the trade-off. We have to sacrifice that personalized bit to do more. Now it seems like we can get a bit closer, which for me sounds like it could be pretty cool. I want to try it.
I am. This is on my to-do list to try. I mean, check this out. I'm on the page, right? hippovideo.io. I'm specifically under their features, under their template builder. And they say two different call-outs here. The one, admins, so your sales admins, maybe your RevOps people, who knows, can create brand-approved video templates and personalize them for effect, all in 2 minutes or less. So they might set an intro and an outro by recording, some really some preset footage that corporate marketing has made that shows how cool your product or your company is. Imagine the music, the intro, the effects, bam, boom. Now the user records a personalized video. They can add some music. They can place it inside a personalized sales page, and then they can send it out to their prospects. Or the sales rep can pick a template Again, with preset intro and outro, so maybe it's a template specific to where they are in the funnel, or what the product or service they're looking for, or what their geography or location or industry is. They add their message, their own personalized message, and then they, boom, send it out to one or many prospects at once. I mean, the whole concept of that blows my mind, and I bet your conversion is going to go through the roof, not to mention your brand credibility. So love that one. All right, next section. It's time for water cooler talk. All right. I know this one's in your wheelhouse, Ollie. We're back to LinkedIn, you being Mr. LinkedIn. It turns out you found this little stat. This is according to eMarketer Insider Intelligence. They have a 32.2% share of the $5.09 billion U.S. B2B display advertising market. Now, they're going to estimate that their LinkedIn ad revenues will grow 27% this year to $1.64 billion. Hey, that's incredible growth. But this is where I'm struggling. We know LinkedIn is the number 3 ad platform for display advertising. Number 3. I'm going to guess number 1 is Google. Number 2 either be Facebook or YouTube or both, because they're I don't know. Google owns YouTube, so maybe that's number 1. Facebook's number 2. I don't know for a fact, but I know they're number 3. If you look at this, they have a third of the share. Well, that means there's only 2/3 left, and we know there's 2 other vendors in front of them. So I'm starting to wonder whose data research is more right. This just seems high to me.
Well, yeah, 32.2 means it can only be as high as 33.3 if they all had equal, so it must be very close. But even at that, so they think it's going to grow to 1.64 billion. I know it's a billion, and that's a lot, but does that seem low to you? I mean, it's still unbelievable, but Zoom has, what was it, 4 billion ARR last year. So 4x that in a year, right? A year. Well, not in a year, but you know what I mean. And this is LinkedIn. This is millions upon millions of brands pumping millions of dollars in. And it's one. No?
So here's the thing. My reaction when I saw 27% was like, yeah. I mean, that's great. In any other normal, regular, non-high-tech business, we will take 27% every year. So it's very respectable. Hey, that's, if you're growing over 25% every year, in 4 years, you just doubled your business. You keep that pace up, in a decade, you're in a unicorn to exponent of unicorn status. But the thing is, too, when you get to the billions, 27% is a hell of a lot harder than when you're in the millions. So that's the thing I look at that. I don't know if this is a reflection of just us coming out of COVID, or if everybody went because they couldn't put their money into event advertising, they put their money into, events, they put their money into advertising. Personally, it's been our experience, and almost all the marketers I talk to, that LinkedIn advertising as a whole is expensive with poor return. That's been our general experience across the board. So when I see these monies, I'm like, who's doing this? Because candidly, there's better ways to spend your money in my experience. So I don't know, man. All right. Love this one. I'll let you talk about it, Ollie, because I know you found this one where Salesforce Ventures were doing a little bit of preening. You know how like the peacocks, they fluff their tail feathers and they show how beautiful and magnificent they are, and they preen and then they strut. Well, Salesforce Ventures issued a tweet recently that was a little bit preening. What's it all about, my friend?
As I have just clicked on the link to read it out, my Twitter has changed.
Well, I can tell you because I'm here for you. And what they said was, we are honored to celebrate the remarkable accomplishments of the founders and teams behind each of the 27 Salesforce Ventures portfolio companies on the 2021 Forbes Cloud 100. And they talk about, some of the examples are, Stripe, Databricks, Plaid, Zapier, Talkdesk, Hopin, etc. The list goes on. But yeah, so said another way, 27% of the companies on that Forbes Cloud 100 have investments from Salesforce Ventures.
Look at how clever we are, guys. We did good, right? Didn't we? I would do the same thing. I just find it funny, but But when you look at the image, so there's lots of companies that we know and like Gong in there. There's reading through it, Databricks, Gusto, Stripes, IPO, Workato, Talk. There's freaking loads of them. Yeah, 27 out of someone's doing something right there. But I did think it was kind of funny. It's everything now I find is so. Look at us. We raised a stupid amount of money. Look, we hired this person, or look, our VC funding ventures are going so damn good, because nothing's ever bad in this world, is it? Nothing's ever bad. Nothing ever happens that's bad. Everything is amazing, but good for them. That's a staggering number. I would love to know what other firms have what percentile of investments in this list. Does anybody get close to 27 or not?
I don't know, man. But you know what I do know? I know Dave Gerhardt, speaking of Drift, former CMO at Drift, who made a lot of noise in the last year and a half ago when he left Drift to go back to his e-commerce company that he'd worked at previous. And at the time, I had publicly said in one of our shows, while everybody was celebrating this big move, that that's a red flag. I had publicly said, you don't leave a company that's on fire, where you're the number 2 guy behind the CEO. You're the most visible brand of that company. You've co-authored a book. You are being on every show in the world. You've probably got a beautiful equity stake. You don't leave that company because there's too much money involved. You don't. And Wednesday night, he posted something on LinkedIn. What did he post, my friend?
Well, I don't know how long he's been. I actually didn't know that he went back.
Well, actually, he posted it on Twitter and LinkedIn.
But I didn't know he went back to Privy. I thought this was a first time thing for him to
No,
be there,
it was a back.
But anyway, since he has been back, I don't know how long he's been there in this term, but he is now leaving.
But here's the thing. He went back to Privy, all right, and at the same time, he started up his own Patreon, which I always find interesting, right? So wait a minute. Put yourself in the eyes of a CEO or a board member or an investor. We've got a chief marketing officer, and we're going to let him start a side hustle that will distract him from his day job that we're paying him well for. Carry on. So what did he announce?
Well, he's leaving, and he's to announce his next, I will say the word venture because it sounds as though he's going solo in some capacity, which good luck to him. I wouldn't say job because we don't know that yet. And this is one of those where the hysteria sets in. It's, oh my God, what do you mean he's leaving? He's got a new job? What? Because it's him. And full respect to him, he's built an incredible brand, very well followed. Lots of people know, respect him. They learn a lot from him. I'm sure he earns very well, and he's not done that through doing nothing, has he? But I find it, let's all just calm down and like have a reality check. You know, your world still happens around you, even if he doesn't change jobs. If he does, let's not lose our shit about it. I find that just gobsmacking when people go so nuts about it. It's like boy band fandom a little bit. I find it dizzying.
Totally agree. And that's exactly what I said when we were in the green room. I said, everybody loses their shit over it, as you said. I said it's usually associated with the folks who are young or new to the industry, and they get boy or, fanboy, so to speak. Someone like me with the gray hair, been around the block once or twice, there's a lot more signals going on here. So I'm kind of curious to see what's going on. Maybe he's still with Privy. Maybe his next move is he's becoming CEO. Who knows? All right. Maybe he's moving on to a venture capital role, and he's going to, stay part-time, fractional, and do other stuff. So this could just be a natural growth. But what you did say is 100% right. He is an incredibly talented marketer, very accomplished, especially at growing his own brand, like any good marketer should be. All right. With that said, Ollie, we are almost out of time because you've been my guest this week, my co-host, my partner in crime. Do we even have a rant from you, or we're just going to say your whole, your comment on Dave Gerhardt was your rant?
Well, we could replay that back, but I have a follow-on to last week's if you remember that one. Do you remember?
All right. I see you rant so much. Give me a hint.
Okay. There was a vendor that we are working with as current who has been following up, is my choice of words, to see if I would like to sponsor an event an event that we are.
Yes, the 6 times, whatever. He called you nonstop. That's right.
Okay, well, here we go. All right. I took a leaf out of your book. You said that you had since replied to that person and said, we are indeed sponsoring this event. So don't worry about it. No need to follow up anymore. We're already locked in. It's all good. Move along. And I got a reply back instantly like that. Guess what he said? No marks for getting this right. Guess what he said?
He said, okay, I'm sorry. I'll move on. Good luck. Glad to have you.
Wrong, Mr. Prell. I expected better than that. You should know better. Well, what he did say was, Ollie, I have not received a reply from anybody within your business. Thank you. I just started laughing. I thought, dude, I'm telling you, just look it up. But maybe you're looking it up wrong or something. Or maybe my colleagues are lying to me. Multiple people. I'm not stupid. Come on. And as much as the customer is not always right, as much as we would like to think they are, and maybe they are, but we have to have a bit of a balance to that. But please, I mean, that was almost rude. That was almost, I'm going to tell somebody in our team who's going to take this question up with one of your senior people, not because I'm trying to be that guy, because that's a poor practice and we don't work like that.
So this is what I would do. I would take a screen capture of their website for their show. I would annotate it with a large arrow to the URL, an arrow to their logo, and an arrow to our logo, and I would put text on it, and I would say, stop calling me to sponsor. And I would send it. And nothing else, just that. That's what I would do. But more importantly, the lesson here, folks, as you're listening, is too many sales reps. You train them all for how to sell. You need to train them for a little bit of critical thinking too. The problem with what Ollie just described was, he said, I haven't got an answer. Well, no. The root cause here is because you were emailing me to sponsor. And I've just told you we're a sponsor. So the email should have been, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that you were already sponsor. Our lists were messed up. I'm doing my thing. I'm taking you off the list. So glad you're here. Looking forward to seeing you at the show. Talk to you then. That's what he should have said. Critical thinking, folks. It's not being defensive. It's not about you. We are so out of time. So Daniel's going to take off the next 3 weeks, which means we will have to wait 4 weeks until we get back to see what Dave Gerhardt did. In the meantime, Ollie, awesome having you on board here. Daniel, edit this show up, make us look amazing, and get the hell out of here. Until 3 weeks from now, enjoy yourself, go to the beach, hang out with Daniel, put stuff on your nose, whatever it is you want to do, hang out with the family. Maybe become a unicorn while we're gone. I don't know. We'll talk about you when we get back right here on The Drive.